morning. Let's see what's on the docket today. Well, we spent about 2 hours in the office this morning doing book work. Now I've made it out to the shop and we're going to get started on some more projects. I got the heat going in here. I just started the oil burner. So we're burning used oil to warm up this side of the shop. If you can see, we've got Erin's red Dodge pickup in here. Problem was, radiator was leaking. So I took the radiator out the other day, yesterday actually, and here's the situation here. You can see this line right here. That's a structural part in there. I'll show that to you in a bit. It wore a hole through several of the water spaces here on the radiator, so it was just leaking fluid. So we need to get that fixed up in Spokane. This structural member here that was rubbing on it is right here. That one's just bent that way a little bit too much. I don't know if the previous owner hit a deer or something, but we just need to push that back a little bit when we install the repaired radiator, and it should fix the problem. We're also going to change out the thermostat while we're here. We have the whole thing drained. Now's the right time.
Hey everyone, me here again. It's been a hot minute. I just wanted to show you guys putting together the thermostat on the pickup. I know Dad showed you that we had to take the radiator out because it was having some leaks, and while we were doing that we decided to replace the thermostat as well because we noticed in the cab that it wasn't giving us very accurate readings as far as temperature goes. So I'm kind of in the middle of that, and I just wanted to show you guys what that looks like. So full disclosure, this is the first time I've ever done something like this as far as replacing a thermostat, but I'm hoping that it's, you know, interesting for you guys and useful, so I'm taking you along for the ride. So here we go. So looking into the pickup here, we have the alternator, which we've already removed off of its post. It is actually attached to the tubes from the radiator that go into the engine here, and this is the engine block. And right here at the front left corner is where our thermostat attaches. You can see that I've already removed everything old that was on there. You can see we've got obviously a lot of leakage coming out of that connection, so we're hoping to stop up some of that stuff with this fix. So over here we've got our old thermostat. As you can see, lots of gunk on that thing. It's pretty old. This is a 96 Dodge 2500 pickup, so this baby I don't think has ever been replaced. You can see there is not a lot of play in here. I don't know how well you guys can see that, but this is actually supposed to move a little bit, and it's not. So this is our new one. Nice and shiny, very clean, looking good. We've got movement in all the correct locations. So we're going to install this, and hopefully it fixes our situation. So everything else that we have to go back in, I have sitting up here on a rag. This, we have a couple of gaskets right here. Unfortunately, our new thermostat didn't come with new gaskets, so we're going to try and reuse what we have. They are pretty crusty and cracked. As you can see, this one is a little warped from how it was seated previously. But we have some gasket maker. This stuff is great. We use it a lot. So we're just going to silicone both of those gaskets to get a good seal, and hopefully we don't have any leaks after that. This is the mounting bracket for pulling the engine. So it goes in there like that. So we gotta put that back in the middle. It also acts as a spacer. And then this is our tube with the hose to the radiator that the thermostat goes in. So let me get you guys set up from a good vantage point and let's put this back together. Alright, so the first thing we want to do is seat the gaskets and the thermostat in our tube here. So first gasket that's going to go in is this smaller one. We're going to get out our silicone here, and we're just going to put a good amount of that all over this. Spread it around. So this is going to help make sure that it seals, because as I showed you before, it's a little warped. So we want to make sure that it's got good contact everywhere in order to prevent the antifreeze from leaking out of the engine, because that's a good way to get your engine to overheat, and that can eventually lead to your engine seizing, which is a very bad thing. So we're going to set that in there. I think it went that way-ish. Put some more silicone here on the top, trying not to get it everywhere. Oh, we've got a rag here just in case. So. Alright, I think that's plenty of silicone. So you've got it all blue in there. Get that finger out so I don't get that anywhere I don't want it. Alright, next goes the thermostat. And there's actually a little marking on the side. How well you guys can see that, but it says 2 RAD with a little arrow. And that means 2 radiators. So since the stuff is coming in this way, and this actually goes on like this, we're going to have the 2 radiator part facing in. I believe is the correct way to do that. Alright, now we're going to seat that, and it's a little tight because there's a lot of gunk on this. So we're just going to press it down to the seal. Alright. Alright, so you can see thermostat seated in there solidly. So now we're going to do our next gasket. Again, actually, I keep calling these gaskets, but they're more like O-rings. So if that's confusing to anyone, my apologies. Just putting some silicone around this guy. Like so. And we're going to do it on the other side as well. Liberally, but not getting it everywhere. Alright, like that. I managed to not get too much on my fingers this time, so that's good. I'm just going to set that down in there. That's a good fit. Alright. So now the thermostat is on and ready to go back into the hole. We're also going to stick this guy, which goes like this, on here too before I put it on, because I think it's going to be easiest to send the bolts through all of that at once. So, alright, set this off to the side because that's ready to go. Now for my bolts, which are here in my handy dandy little blue cheese container. Got 3 of different lengths. Just going to do a quick test fit to see if I remember where they go. I believe that one is the bottom one. Actually, let me take that back. That one I actually believe goes to the alternator. I think it's these guys. Go in here. 2 long ones at the top. And short one. And the bottom. Okay. Those all appear to be right. Now, if you'll notice, lots of gunk on these as well. And we want them to go in easy, and we want to make sure that we can get them out again. So, we're going to use some of this handy dandy stuff, anti-seize lubricant. We affectionately refer to this as Goofenpucky. Don't ask me why. Started by my great uncle. I'm sure there's a good reason. I can't tell it to you. So in order to make sure that these screw in well and are able to get out again, we just paint some of this on the threads, and then that will help them not get stuck, which is always a wonderful thing when you're mechanicking. Over. Okay, our bolts are ready to go. Let's get this bad boy out. Like I said, I'm going to put at least the top 2 bolts through this first so I don't have to worry about them not lining up. I go to stick it in very carefully. Don't fall. Oh, and then I dropped a bolt. Always happens. Alright, so once this is back in, the next step will be to reattach the alternator. And then you can see that there's some hoses and whatnot that go to this. We currently have the hoses out because the radiator is out. But once we get the radiator back from the repair shop, we'll reattach all of that. Put some water in it to test it. Make sure that we don't have any leaks and we didn't forget anything. And then we will run this bad boy to see if our thermostat fix works. But that was the gist. Fairly easy repair as far as things go. A little challenging to get to, but not impossible. Yeah, all in all, not that bad. So, thanks for sticking with me. And we'll bring you guys out to show you the rest of the repairs as we go along with this Dodge. We've also got what we believe to be a leak in the fuel line somewhere because we're having a hard time starting it. So the sputtering and lack of ignition we believe is air in the fuel line, so we've got to check that out. We actually repaired the leak in the fuel line last winter, so hopefully it's not the same thing, but this is an old gal, so you never know what's going on, so we got to check that out. It's always something. So, alright, looks like all my bolts are tight, everything's in, and I think we're done here. So, we'll see you later.